Morning, even afternoon, Timthetatman Q A podcast version of me got a banger for you today. We decided to try something a little different here today. The Timthetatman Q A. Now, we've never done this on stream and never uploaded anything like this on the channel, but we kind of wanted to see how a video like this would do. So what we got for here is me answering some questions that people have for me from the chat. I will tell you, chat had a lot of positive feedback on this. It was something they really enjoyed doing, so this might be something we do in the future as well. Be sure to drop a like on this if you enjoy it, share it with a friend. If you're not subbed over here to Timthetatman 2, the Just Chatting podcast version of me, hit the sub button, ring the bell. All right, be sure to tell somebody you love them as well. Okay, I'll catch you in the next one. Okay, how does this work? Hey, why are you fat? LOL. What? Who asked that? Wait, that's me. Hey, bro, how did you do that? Why is that my name? This is a bad idea. Let's get a start to this here. Well, Tim, you're fat because for breakfast when you were younger, you ate 2 cream cheese bagels from Dunkin' Donuts and a large coffee culotta every single day, Monday through Friday. And that was how you started your day. And that is 2,000 calories, Tim. And now you literally are 31, eating 2,200 calories a day, trying to lose weight and work out. That's why you're fat. Next question. 125.69 from Zine. He goes, F Nat, yeet Kevin out of the room. You choose him? Okay, thanks, Whips. All right. So this is an ironic time to ask about Kevin, because I just threw him for $125.69. But Kevin and Kevin's origin. So I used to have a ton of different stuff in my background. Some of you might remember this. I used to have a gnome named Gerald. I used to have all this stuff behind me. And then eventually one day I got Kevin. And Kevin, I don't know why, but chat really took a liking to Kevin. And he started to just become a normal part of my routine in my day-to-day, was to just have Kevin right next to me. And for some reason, somehow, Kevin ended up becoming this huge staple in this community and one of the largest roles in this channel, to be honest with you. And it just happened naturally like that. That's kind of the lore and the origin of how Kevin came to be. What did I do before streaming? Very good question, bro. Before streaming, I did some odd jobs, but I did warehouse work for a little while. I did a lot of landscaping. I did landscaping for like 3 to 4 years. And I also worked at a halfway house, and I was a shift supervisor there. That was the thing I was doing last before I became a streamer. So, but throughout my life, I'd done some odd jobs here and there, and I was just kind of always doing some form of work. So my first tattoo, Jack, good question, man. How many of you know this one? I'm just looking at you, Chad. I'm curious. It's not my cross on my right arm. It's my crown of thorns around my right arm, which I can't show you now because I'm wearing a hoodie, but I got a arm band when I was 18 years old, which is now 13 years ago. I got my very first tattoo 13 years ago. That's a scary sentence. And it's a crown of thorns. It's an armband around my right arm, and it's like right here, and it goes, and then I ended up adding on to it later, but that was the very first thing I ever got. So what's been one of your 3 favorite memories of your streaming career thus far? One of my 3? That's a really hard one. That's a really hard question, actually. Fall Guys was definitely up there because we had 400,000 viewers here that day. That was crazy. But if I'm honest with you, if I had to pick one, very first thing I ever remember, years and years ago, to get your sub button. I know times have changed a little bit now, but years ago on Twitch, to get your sub button, you needed 500 concurrent viewers for a week straight. And I applied for partnership a couple times, and I got denied because there were some days that I had like 400 viewers instead of 500, and I never got my sub button. And when I first got my sub button, I'll never forget that night and what I felt. And I remember thinking to myself, I went to a party after. It was Halloween. I went to a party, and I was like chilling, and I went out on this little balcony that was there, and I was thinking to myself, I was like, this could change my life. That was the thought I had. I was like, this could be something that changes my life. And sure enough, it did. And here we are. So that's probably my favorite memory, was that getting that sub button that day, and just remembering that was a crazy day. So at Whips, did you do this to you? So you got some promo in here. This is from Tree. what important life lesson have you learned or will you impart on your son? One thing I'm going to tell him is if you have something you want to do, chase your dreams. I want him to know that, because here I am playing video games for a living. You know, being able to do that is still to this day something I can't really wrap my head around. And one thing I really that my dad kind of instilled in me was that you probably might work jobs that are going to suck. And there's stuff you're going to want to not do, right? And like when I was landscaping, when I was in that warehouse, bro, I did not want to work there, but I had to get a job. I had to work. So I definitely like that work ethic that my dad kind of put in me and instilled in me. And that's definitely something I want to pass down to my son. So how did I meet Tyler? Craig, thank you for the question, man. That's a good one. So I knew of Tyler streaming years and years ago. Ninja, just to be clear here. I knew of him years and years ago, obviously. I knew he was a competitive Halo player, but I never really played Halo. But I knew he was like a Halo player years and years ago. And I would like see him stream and like YouTube and stuff like that years and years when he was playing Halo competitively. But I really started to watch him and really get to know who he was more regularly during H1Z1, because that was the first time we actually played together, because we knew each other before that. We knew each other before H1, but H1Z1 was like one of the first games that both of us actually played at the same time. So I guess to answer how to meet him, was technically H1Z1, the original, which if you remember the original H1Z1, it was so much fun, bro. But it was H1. That's kind of where him and I really met and became buddies. And then from there, you know, I went to Overwatch. He more did PUBG. I enjoyed Overwatch more than PUBG. And then we kind of reconnected in Fortnite. So, and that's been years and years now. I mean, the original H1Z1 came out when, chat? 2014, maybe? 2014? But anywho. So it's been a while now, but good question, Craig. Next. What got me into streaming? So when I was in college, believe it or not, I went to college, no matter how stupid I am. I went to college and I would always watch this one streamer. There were actually two streamers that I would watch regularly in college. One was Sodapoppin, who still streams to this day and who I'm buddies with now, which is pretty crazy to think about. But I would watch Sodapoppin years and years ago. I was 21 years old, and I would always watch Soda, and he always made me laugh a lot. He was just so like stupid, literally, that I would just get a good laugh. And I remember like just watching him and always enjoying his content. And I loved World of Warcraft, so that was another big thing too. So I watched Soda, and then the other person I watched was, a lot of you probably remember this guy, Duck Sauce. To this day, I think Duck was one of my, he was so good at streaming. He was so good at what he did. He had such a great way to balance the game of like World of Warcraft and also like just chat at the same time. Really incredible streamer, and I would watch him every single morning. I'd watch Duck every morning before I had class. So those two guys, big WoW guys, and I love World of Warcraft. If you know me, that's one of my favorite games ever. But Duck Sauce and Sodapoppin were kind of the two guys that I watched that I really was watching it like, wow, this is so cool what these guys are doing. I wish I could do that. That's what I would tell myself. And I decided to give it a shot, and now here we are. How did you and Whips meet? Whips, very convenient that you let this question go through, huh? Bert, good question. I met Whips through a mutual friend. Her name is Fuya. This is years ago now. She basically was like, she knew that I needed a mod. And she was basically like, you know, well, there's this one guy, his name's Whips. He's a mod for me, and he would love to mod for you. He likes your stream. And I was like, okay. And so I decide randomly, I don't even ask Whips any questions. Literally, I don't ask him anything. And I just modded him in my chat. I was like, okay, F it. Let's see what he can do. And then the rest is kind of history. I mean, from that point on, he started to get more and more responsibility. I started to pay him, and now he's like an employee, if you will. So, but that's just kind of how it all naturally came to be. It was a pretty organic thing, but I met him through Fuya. So, shoot, with a good question. Is there a celebrity you really want to play with? One thing I'll say about playing with celebrities is I like getting to know them before I play with them, but I'm okay with like just hopping on and playing with them. But it feels more organic. So like, for example, Luke Combs, right? Yeah, we're playing with him today and a little bit. We'd played with him before, but I knew him before we played, so it felt more organic. And then since then, I've gone to Daytona 500 with him and kind of hung out with him. And now he's playing again, so it's a really organic kind of like a buddy. And Devin Booker's kind of in that same boat where it's like, okay, we've played with Devin before. Because when you first start playing with them, like a celebrity, you're just not 100% sure how they're going to be. You know, they might be nervous because it might be out of the comfort zone of them. But if I like it to feel natural, but one celebrity that I would love to play with, I'm surprised we haven't yet, honestly, is Post. So I'm a big Post Malone fan. His music's great. And you know, there's a lot in common, obviously, between Post and I. We're both from Syracuse. We're both heavily tattooed, both Cowboys fans, both gamers. He's obviously much more musically talented than I am, but Post is definitely one that I would love to, and I know he plays COD, so Post is, Bud Light guys. Post is definitely a guy that I would love to play with that I haven't yet. I actually found out he followed me on Instagram through chat, because chat asked me, somehow we were talking about Post Malone, and chat asked, oh, does he follow you? And I said no, because I didn't think he did, but then they went to Instagram and found out he did follow me. So, but I haven't like messaged him and be like, yo, what's up, bro? Trying to run some Warzone. I don't want to do that. So, but Post is definitely one that I think one day we'll end up linking. What is your favorite World of Warcraft raid? I love this question. Thank you, Thor, because you guys know I'm a huge WoW fan. I got to be honest with you. I think two things came to mind as far as my favorite WoW raid. ICC and Karazhan. But if I had to pick one, I'm picking Karazhan. I loved ICC. I loved it. But if I had to pick one, Karazhan was so memorable to me. I don't know why I love Karazhan so much. Like the original chess, the whole like the opera thing, it just felt so cool to me. I don't know why. I really gotta get 70 on my rogue, bro. I am really doing a disservice to myself by not running Karazhan again, because it was one of my favorites. I gotta get to 70. Thanks for the question though, Thor. That is a good one. But Kara, I'd say. ICC is a really close second though. Do you have performance anxiety streaming? If so, how do you mitigate it? Jay, I wouldn't say I get nervous on stream anymore. I did for a little bit. I've been doing it for so long, it kind of feels natural now. One thing I will say, when I take a break and come back, the first like 2 days always feels weird to me. So like I'm gonna take that break to Orlando coming up here, and take like another 4 days where I'm not gonna stream, and then I'm gonna come back, and those first 2 days back, it'll feel weird. I don't know why, but it just does. But you get back into the routine and just kind of how it goes. So, but no, not really, I guess. Dank, what made you want your first tattoo? That's another good question. So my first tattoo is a crown of thorns. It's on my faith. It's based on my faith, and it was something that I just wanted on me permanently. It was something that I wanted to just have on me forever to represent my faith and what I believe, and that was kind of my staple of doing that, if you will. So, and another random fact about my first tattoo, my dad has the same exact tattoo on his left arm. And so it was kind of a cool moment where my dad actually got tattooed before me, and then I got the tattoo right after him when I was 18. So it was a pretty cool little moment where it's like my dad has the same thing on him now too. So obviously he stopped after that, and I just kept going, and but here we are. So yeah, good question though. Thanks, Dan. All right, 3 more. Let's get it. How did I meet Alexis? Dan, good question. I met Alexis, my wife, in high school. She knew me in high school. We were high school sweethearts. We dated, and it's funny because she used to work in high school, and I didn't have my driver's license, and I would just play video games all day. And I'll never forget one day, PJ and I were raiding in World of Warcraft, and she brought us Taco Bell. I'll never forget that day. And she used to be like the one that kind of took care of me, which is kind of funny. And, you know, now, thankfully, she doesn't have to work. And She can stay home, but and I still just play video games all day. But I met her in high school, and that's kind of how we met originally. So she's like a babysitter for a little while there. I got my driver's license now. She does still take care of me. Yes, 100%. Dino, if you could plan a trip anywhere in the world with no budget, where would you go and why? Two things come to mind. One would be Japan. I hear Bora Bora. I hear Japan is like incredible to be at. I've never left America. Random fact about me. Japan, I hear, is awesome. And obviously I love anime, and I've been told that obviously there's a lot of like anime stuff that's really mainstream in Japan, which would be kind of cool to see. So Japan would definitely be one. Okay, I was in Canada for baseball when I was 12. Yes, thank you, chat. And then the other one that kind of came to mind, this is kind of an odd one too, but it'd be like Ireland. I'm very Irish. I'm like, I think I'm over 50% Irish. And going to see, I don't know what exactly I do in Ireland. I have no idea, but I hear it's a kind of a, they have like really nice spots where like hills, and obviously there's Scotland and stuff like that. But Ireland would be another one that I wouldn't mind seeing. But and just so you know too, there's actually a lot that I would kind of want to go to, like Italy, Greece. But I would say my top two would probably be like Japan and Ireland. Yeah, drinks, hell yeah, let's get it. I wouldn't mind going to England either, honestly. Is this last one? Okay. Ty, how have you handled all the fame that's come your way and kept it level-headed? That's a really good question too. So one thing I always try and do is just, whenever I'm out in public or something and someone asks for a photo, I always try to remember what I would feel like when I wanted to meet somebody. And I always do my best to try and accommodate that. So for example, if I see The Rock in public, right, I would love to get a picture and talk to The Rock, right? So when I see someone recognize me, because it's pretty noticeable, I can kind of pick up on it. But sometimes I'll like go up because they might be too nervous. Like I might be too nervous to go talk to The Rock. You know what I mean? So I'll start the conversation, be like, hey, what's going on? You know, how you doing? Blah, blah, blah. And I really try to like just remember that when I'm meeting people. That's a big thing that I do. There are times where I can't meet everyone. TwitchCon's a prime example of that. It's absolutely crazy. I try to meet as many people as I can, but it's like whenever I'm in those moments where people are recognizing me or I'm taking a photo with someone, I try to be accommodating because I try and think about what I would want if I was seeing someone that I wanted to have a photo with. And ultimately, man, for me, I did used to work really odd jobs. I used to landscape. I used to do warehouse work. I've done that. I understand what the other side of that coin's like, and I try to remember those days that really set a foundation for me. You know what I mean? Made me really appreciate what I do and what I can do today, because I understand what the grind can be like, and I try to keep that at the front of my head too. So that's just kind of just how I've always handled it personally. Good question though, Ty. Okay, that was good. We should do that. We'll see. That was kind of fun. We might do that more often, honestly, chat.